let's say someone's up and coming and they're interested in being a copywriter who gets royalties. How would you suggest them to
increase
what
my
are the
probability?
steps to get rolling?
I mean, the most important thing you can do is to be on the level of an A-list copywriter. Like, you've got to learn to write well. You write well and business comes to you. You do posts on LinkedIn and Facebook. You offer to do stuff to people, and it's so important that. And if you combine that with being dependable, right? That people can count on you, because some people can write A-list copy, but you can't count on them, right? Some people you can count on, they can't write A-list copy. When you combine, what did I read today? Somebody said, when you add one other thing to your talent stack, you double your income. And it's kind of like that, right? If you're an A-list copywriter, you can charge a lot more if people can depend on you. You can charge even more if you're quick. And that means it's not just the mechanics of writing well, of course, but when you see people who are A-list copywriters, they're students of direct response, right? They know what works. They know what doesn't. They've read the old books. They know what's working for Agora these days. They know what's working in financial. They know what's working in health. They know how that's evolved over the years. They have a sense of perspective, because when you work with someone who's not an A-list copywriter, you get the copy from them, and it's kind of like what was being done 10 years ago, right? Lose weight now, lose a lot of weight, make a lot of money in the stock market. It's kind of like, yeah, that worked, or even a little better than that, right? But that worked 10 years ago. That doesn't work post-COVID. That's not what's working post the crash that we're having. That's not what's working post AI. All these things, it's not that they write better, they know more stuff, which enables A-list copywriters to write better. So it's writing better, it's having successes, right, that you can point to. That's real important. When you say what gets people to consider you as an A-list copywriter, and who receives royalties. I don't know that you have to be A-list to receive royalties, right? Start receiving royalties before that. If you're good enough, and you can, it doesn't take much to be better than most copywriters out there, right? Doesn't even take much to probably be better than 90% of the copywriters out there. A-list is maybe the 1% or 0.5% or whatever the math is on all of this. But charge royalties, ask to, and you could do that in different ways, right? You could do that as a bonus structure. Okay, if this works for you and you start using it, you pay me, double, right? But if it doesn't work, you only have to pay me, this initial amount. Sometimes just add it on for gravy, right? You're going to do a thing for them. You charge $10,000 or whatever you charge, or $5,000. But, it's like, how about we make this interesting and, kind of really motivate me to go the extra mile, put more time into this, do the email tests, and we say like a, 1% royalty or something like that, right? They're not going to, well, they might miss that, but they're unlikely to miss that very much. But it's a start, and you start getting a feel for charging royalties, and you start being experienced at charging royalties. What to not do. Don't rely on AI. Don't rely on, templates, right? A-list writers, they know the templates. They use templates. They've got the templates. They've got templates in their head. They've got their own template, but they're not driven by templates, right? It's what they put on the templates. It's their persuasiveness. It's their storytelling ability. So to avoid and what are the most important things to avoid? The other thing is work with A-list writers, right? Work with someone who's an A-list writer. I mean, you're in this group, which is great because you've got exposure to an A-list writer now who can look at your stuff and say, nope, not how you do it. Or like, yes, this is how you do it. This part here, what you did, do more like that. And that's critical. You don't get to be an A-list writer without being subjected to that. It's kind of like you can't doctor yourself, right? Can't operate on yourself. You shouldn't be your own lawyer. The same thing with copy, even more so with copy in a way, because it's kind of like there's this built-in bias of not seeing things in your own copy, because if you do, you have to rewrite it. Nobody wants to rewrite what they wrote. They want to be done, right? So if I give my copy to someone, if I give my copy to Stance, then I'll be, hey, fix this, do this, fix this, improve this, rewrite this. If I look at my copy, I tend to be a little more, yeah, it looks pretty good. So, that's my record. Stan, anything?
Well,
you've worked
like,
with
I mean,
a lot
I
of
give
A-list
great
writers.
Yeah, like again, if you're coming from a situation where you can afford to invest, but without doubt, the fastest way to shortcut this stuff. I'm sorry. Step one is you can't suck, right? Like that. There's the thing. Like if you're bad at the craft, there is no path to success in this, because it is competitive. And the people who are good are getting better all the time, and the results speak for themselves. It's really not, you can't fake your way through more than, I don't know, half a copywriting assignment before the results prove how good you are. And no one's, it's like baseball. Nobody bats 1,000. The greatest of the great do not every time beat every control. As you move up, it gets harder. So one is, it's a skill level. You do have to be more than just minimally competent. You have to be good at this, and you get good by practicing. The other way, the best way to shortcut this is honestly pay to play, is mentorship. And if you can get a mentor to help you for whatever, however, someone takes you under the arm, that's great. But there are a lot of people who are really good copywriters, and I've been working with them for years, who have programs where they work with people, and the people who are good, we absolutely throw business to. More people come to, hey, could you get me a copywriter? And most of them are a waste of time, but I will kick those to people to, hey, this person stood out. David's been coaching them. He's mentioned them, or I've done some work with them. So we absolutely throw pretty good leads. And then when I say we, it's I'll say industry wide. There's other people who will introduce you to people. So whether it's you do it through mentorship, whether you can go to events now that events are back, and kind of just do what get yourself in front of people to get better jobs. If you're good, it does take selling yourself. Everything that you do to sell somebody else's product, you got to change hats. And we're all bad at this. Like David said about his own copy, right? The hardest thing to write is your own product, where it's easy to be critical or to think about selling someone else's thing. When the thing is yourself, you're going to have to just, you got to wear another hat or something to look at that. One
last thing is go where copywriters and clients are. Go to events, go to events, go to traffic and conversion, go to AWAI, go to Copy Chief events. There's so much, you want to be around writers, and you want to learn from them, and maybe get to work with them. And you want to be around clients, because that's, you meet clients at the bar.
And the other thing, before we get to some copy again, is any type of royalty deal is either the easiest or hardest sale there is to make. And this is true in any industry, because it's one of those, there's two kinds of people thing. There are people who will just never go for it. It's, what do you mean you get a percentage of every, like they're because they would have to share numbers with you, and you're never going to get them to go there, especially at first, and some of them ever. It's just that they want to pay a fixed amount of money, and it could be a lot of money, but they'll never do it. So at some point, you're just hitting your head against the wall. However, there's that other huge chunk of humanity. You're asking them to spend money they don't have yet. So it's an easy sale to some people to say, hey, look, I need you to pay me some minimal amount of money to prove you're not wasting my time, that at least you're going to use this thing I'm doing for you, right? And that's low, but it can't be like, it's too low, but it's low. And if I get half of every additional dollar profit you make, or 5%, and profit that's riskier because you can always finagle profit. or I get like just a couple % of every extra dollar that comes in the door. Now, for those people, it's like, well, it's money they don't have now. If some theoretical dollar comes in and you're getting 10 cents of it, it's like, it's not real to them. There are many, many people are more likely to say yes to that deal. Now, of course, you're gambling, right? You're going to lose some. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. You're going to write some great copy and they never run it, or they somehow put it on, white, yellow print on a green background and no one can read it, right? Like there are things will go wrong. And Rachel's laughing because I'm sure something like that's happened to Rachel, right? Because so it's just, you're not gonna, it's not like every one of those could change. So you have to factor that into your pricing. You'll get better as you go. But there really is no barrier to that other than finding a human who is open to it and explaining it to them in a way that, look, we either both win together or I lose. It's either win-win or you don't win or lose and I lose. But if we win, I get this. And then you do have to have someone, like you do have to have tracking on it. And I know people who trusted clients and checks have shown up for a long time, and other people at some point down the road, they will get resentful that they're still sending you that money. But again, that's a decision you make, and it's a good problem to have for future you.
Yeah.
Present
Stan
wants to get better at it.
Two things. One is it's not only people without money that like royalties. A lot of people with money really like the idea of paying for when, like if I make money, you make money, or you don't make money unless I make money. They really they'd rather, they don't like the idea of some people, right? Like you said, two kinds. They don't like the idea of money up front. They like the idea of money because I'm making money. And it's kind of a nice way to put it too. It's like, I want to make money because I'm making you money. People go, yep, that's, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. For those, it makes sense. I just learned life has taught me there are some people who
I love two kinds of people.
Right.
I love that. Yeah.